Welcome back to the Where Winds Meet Law series. Today, we're diving deep into the law of velvet shade. In my Velvet Shade Part 1 video, we cover the stories of two most important flower messengers, including the current head of Velvet Shade. From those stories, we know that the Velvet Shade is a spy organization serving the Shimmer of South. But there's also a theory that they could be playing both sides as double agents. Let's hear the story. In the wandering tale, Lone Beauty, two Nine Mortal Ways disciples gossip about a Khitan envoy who stole Hua Zhiqing's hairpin. It gets snatched by a bird and dropped beneath a tree. Tumi is a flower, and Hua Zhiqing is a flower messenger. Being the kind-hearted young master, you pick up the hairpin and return it to her, but somehow she is not that thrilled. Then comes the quest for Vernal Umbrella skill theft, where we meet Hua Zhiqing again. You cannot enter the banquet unless you obtain a Tumi hairpin. The quest NPCs tell you Hua Zhiqing is a top-notch assassin, better at using her umbrella to kill than to dance. She's upset because a guest returned her hairpin and failed to show up at the banquet as planned. Wait a second. Returned her hairpin? Eventually, you enter the banquet and watch Hua Zhiqing perform her umbrella dance on stage. The guest of honor is the Grand Chancellor in real history, basically the head of government. As I mentioned in my Four Real Emperors video, Big Zhao was famous for taking military power over wine. Being an official from the previous regime, the Grand Chancellor worried about losing his position. Was he paranoid? No. Connecting the two quests tells the full story. Hua Zhiqing deliberately let the Khitan envoy steal her hairpin, giving him a reason to return. At the same time, she invited the unknown Grand Chancellor, hoping to catch both of them in the same place. This would give Big Zhao a perfect reason to fire the Chancellor for scheming with the enemy. But you returned her hairpin, ruining her plan. Imagine how furious this top assassin must have been, watching her carefully planned trap collapse and then seeing the person who ruined it casually walk into a now pointless banquet and even start stealing her skills. And it doesn't stop there. Later, Nine Mortal Ways disciples reveal that Hua Zhiqing tried again, this time gifting a handkerchief to the Khitan envoy. If you picked it up during the streetwise stage quest, congratulations, you may have accidentally ruined her second try. Run, don't walk from her, young master. These events fuel the theory that the Velvet Shade is a double agent. Empress Zhou's story adds weight to this idea. As I explained in my Four Real Emperors video, in real history, Big Zhao took the throne via peaceful mutiny. His younger brother and Zhao Pu helped him stage a show, draping him in an imperial yellow robe. In-game, after Chairong died, Zhou Qiang wrote a folk song to rally popular support for Big Zhao. Also, remember this guy from the Martial Temple quest? He was the one tasked with making the yellow robe. Here's another detail people often miss. He comes from a country called later Shu. He stole the design blueprint for the warship from his own country and gave it to Song so that Mu Rongyuan could build the ship. I am really excited to see what this new faction might add to the power balance in future patches. Now, back to the Velvet Shade. Despite helping Big Zhao, this organization is deeply tied to Southern Tang. It was founded by the grandmother of the Shimmer of South. Even the name Velvet Shade refers to a poetic style, and the Shimmer of South himself is a famous poet. The game also deliberately changes the location of the revelry hall. In real history, it was built on land, but in-game, it sits on a pond. Southern Tang is known for river and lake gardens, which is why in the Winter Gambit encounter, Big Zhao uses fish to symbolize it. NPCs even tell you this entire pond is artificial, a massive project commissioned by the Velvet Shade, just so they can feel a little closer to home. So given all this, what do you think? Is Velvet Shade a double agent, or just smart enough to curry favor with Big Zhao while staying loyal to Southern Tang? Flower messengers. In ancient agricultural China, spring was so important that it was counted as 120 days and divided into 8 periods. For each period, 3 flowers were chosen to mark the early, middle, and late phases, with each phase lasting just 5 days. By watching which flowers were blooming, farmers could tell exactly where they were in the season and plan their farm work. It was basically a living calendar made of flowers. From this came 24 iconic spring flowers, 12 of which carried symbolic meanings. The flower messenger system draws from this tradition. Across different dynasties, people even created flower gods for these flowers. They seem to take gods a little less seriously because all the flower gods are famous people in history. Let's meet the flower messengers. First, Zhou Qiang. She's the current head of the Velvet Shade. We talked about her story in part 1. Peony is regarded as the queen of all flowers. At this time, the Shimmer of South loves her deeply and spares no effort to please her. Zhou Qiang likes fragrance, so the Shimmer of South appointed a palace attendant just for blending scents, with burners and tools made of gold and jade. Today, that attendant is the head of the Silken Veil Society, a luxury establishment selling Southern Tang fashion in Kaifeng. But in real history, she's set to die in 2 years. If the game follows a timeline, something dramatic is coming. Second, Hua Jieyu. Crabapple or begonia represents nobility and beauty. She's a master of pitch pots, a drinking game kind of like beer pong, and she only gets drunk when she decides to. She's the head of the Spring Wave Pavilion. Third, Du Gantang. She leads the East Wind Pavilion. Her position as the chief editor of the East Wind Herald enables her to gather intel, which is key for a spy organization. Fourth, Lu Yanling. Chrysanthemum symbolizes longevity, and the name Yanling carries the same meaning. He's one of the only 2 male flower messengers in the game, and is responsible for gathering intelligence. Fifth, Mu Hanying. Plum blossoms bloom in the snow, and are called a spring's emissary. Because they bloom in winter, they represent strength of character and indifference to wealth or power. And yes, all these meanings apply not just in game, but in Chinese culture in general. Mu Hanying is an accomplished painter. This painting displayed in the Revelry Hall is his work. Sixth, Qin Ruolan. We've talked about her fascinating story in part 1 of Velvet Shade Lore. Not only is she a real historical figure, she's also selected as one of the 12 flower gods. Orchids symbolize simplicity and elegance, just like how her beauty shines through the plain clothes when she dressed up as a lowly maid. Seventh, Liu Rui. Willows symbolize sorrowful parting. Liu Rui is in charge of fireworks. She is suspected to be a descendant of a famous calligrapher in real history who created one of the most prestigious calligraphy styles, known as the Liu style. Liu literally means willow. Eighth, Xin Yi. Magnolia represents bravery. She's not especially skilled in music or dance, but she handles finance and accounting. Ninth, Yulinglong. Yulinglong is another name for the flower, which symbolizes confidence and self-appreciation. 10th, Bairong. Peach blossom stands for romantic love. Even in modern Chinese, people say peach blossom luck to mean that someone is doing well in romantic relationships or having many admirers. The Radiant Pavilion is like a dating agency, with a huge peach blossom tree where people pray for love. Interestingly, Bairong is not a nickname for peach blossom, but for peony, the queen of all flowers. Qin Ruolan also used to compete for the peony position, so you can see that the Velvet Shade has a lot of ambitious people. 11th, Hua Zhiqing. Tumi flowers represent the beauty of dead ends, which fits her deadly umbrella skills perfectly. 12th, Ling Yuming. Camellias can bloom in winter and symbolize modesty and resilience. She is the head of the Grace Pavilion, Velvet Shade's music expert. 13th, Huang Suxing. Yes, there is a 13th flower messenger. She's not listed in the current love letter name list. Her name means winter jasmine, symbolizing hope and sincerity. She guards Zhou Qiang's private 3rd floor and is likely one of her trusted aides. As you can see, the Velvet Shade is the embodiment of taste, refinement, and artistry. For example, guests are encouraged to bathe at the Spring Wave Pavilion next door before entering the Revelry Hall. The Velvet Shade excels at the 8 elegance: music, Chinese chess, calligraphy, painting, poetry, wine, flower viewing, and tea tasting. These traditions originated in China and later spread to other countries like Japan and Korea. That's all for the Velvet Shade lore. Thank you for watching.